my mic should be working now. Yeah, I mean, I have a completely different setup for when it comes to Would You Waifu than when it's for the Switch. Greetings. And we will surpass those stupidity each and every time. Anyways, last time we had it about the visitors from beyond, aliens. And did we actually tackle the xenomorph? Missed opportunity. Oh well. Yeah. But today we are going to be talking about kind of a follow-up episode of a subject we talked about a while back. We're going to be talking about some spooky ghosts. Specifically the incorporeal undead and such. And that is just... everything just started going downhill from there. Just because we aren't going up doesn't mean we aren't going forward. Yeah, and I honestly enjoy each and every time. Anyways. Yeah. So, just a question that involves both the physical and, well, spectral undead. What is your general take on the concept of necromancy? Yeah, so I thought might as well get it out of the way before we really start focusing on ghosts and such. Just the concept of raising the dead. Fair enough. I could definitely see why some people would be against it though. Yeah, like, I am definitely okay when it comes to necromancy, when it comes to just raising the dead to have them do physical labor. It is when you're dealing with today's subject that I'm like, where is there consent? And... but I still... yeah. That was a rocky start. Like, I was hyped to talk about that, but when thinking about it as as just seeing them as waifus, that became suddenly a lot more difficult than I expected. We were fresh. But now we can bullshit you out of thinking that. Most of the time. Except when it comes to kobolds, you will claim that expert title. I know, I'm just saying, that's one of the few times you will claim expert. Yeah. Okay, so... yeah. First we would have to figure out how a spirit would make sense with either our current science or what we have to come up with to make it work. Yeah, the only I was gonna say the only example I can remember of ghosts being more scientific was also already semi-magic. Have I been first to 2 streams today? I think so, Kit Kat. How are you doing? Okay, yeah, that is a technicality because you are here. Yes. We playing grounded with the streamers too. Oh, I hope you have fun. Make sure to lure me in all the irradiated spiders. Irradiated? Yeah, irradiated. Also accurate. Okay, so seeing a ghost could probably be the easiest aspect, because if you were a... Okay, I'm trying to think of my words here, because I'm like, okay, this should be easy to explain. No, that doesn't make sense. No, we kind of need to build upon that. Like, I feel like if I have just one good starting block, I can start cooking here. Yeah. Depends on how long it takes for them to pass on. Yes. Nope. Yep. It would make sense that if we kind of think about it like fermenting, it just needs a bit of time to either collect enough energy or ripen enough in a state that it is visible. Uh-huh. That might be why I vibe with him. Yeah, because it would... To kind of explain that logically, I would have to go to the brain, because if the brain activity increases, there's also a lot more electrical signals happening, so it would make sense that those would accelerate the process. That is fair. Okay, so while it does make sense that an older spirit, that on its own it would take a while for there to be enough of a charge for them to be visible to us, but when you look at a lot of medias, when do ghosts like appear? Like on foggy days, in the mirror, cameras. Like, I do think that they are, if they are there, they are visible on a certain frequency. And if you are able to tap into that frequency, you will be able to see them a lot faster. You know what's actually gonna be funny? If this turns out to be our mental health episode. Yeah. That is true. That is true. Okay, so what? Honestly, the most recent quote-unquote ghost I can think of are two ghosts in pretty recent sources of media. JoJo Part 4 and the Monster Prom series. As both of those are technically modern ghosts. Okay, JoJo still was like a couple decades old before she showed up, but Polly is a modern ghost. Yes, yeah, so she is an example of are the ghosts unfinished business fucking. I'm gonna use Polly once again as an example. Yes! Especially if she offers you a reverse Romanian Wilkinson. Better prepare those guacamole and marbles. Anyways, what do you think? But, so, do you think that natural causes or unnatural causes would be a bigger source of ghosts? Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that because that is fair. At least if the death was like left an imprint on them, I think that is a thing that honestly, yeah, now that I think about it, PTSD is a great source of anxiety and depression, which is a strong emotion, so you just need to have trauma to become a ghost. Yes. At least... Okay, so that's a good question. I'm gonna say... If it's one of those... Depending on how stable it is, like... I do think that a ghost that is just beginning to form would not really have, like, the extremities, like, legs. So, I think the fresher the ghost, the less detailed they are. Or the less traumatized. This is where things get kinda tricky, because there is... If they are sources of energy, then, or beings of energy, then if they have enough, then things can start getting affected by just the presence of them. Like, static electricity can bend water coming out of a tap. We can't see it, but we know it is there. I can also understand that if they are... Oh wait, I just realized something. Since we did kind of mention that they need to at least have a certain amount of energy to form, meaning they are... I think it's endothermic reaction that is requiring outside forms of energy. As that would actually explain the common trope about the temperature dropping around ghosts. They're just absorbing the energy. That kind of makes sense now that I think about it, with that little tidbit. Oh, I'm not saying electric. I'm also talking about like thermal energy from heat. Yes, because well, the area around them gets cold because it would make sense if they are absorbing the heat energy to start to form. It would at least explain that trope. And to be fair, there is a lot of electricity in current day just being wasted, so it would make sense that they would adapt to become more electrical, like Sadako from the Ring. But yeah, to touch, I actually was gonna go on a different tangent when it came to touching stuff. A while back, like, uh, I always have to think like, is that high school or is that middle school for you guys? I was like second year. Yeah, we do school a little bit different here. Basically, you first spend like 8 years on, from like 5 onwards in a school. Then what we could just call it basically middle school. But which can take up to from like 3 to 6 years depending on the level you take. But that part isn't important. It was like early teens when you're like basically a chuny. Yeah. Yeah, that does make sense. I actually, for school, got interested in a little bit of looking up supernatural things like ghosts, myths, yada 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 yada. But they brought up a specific type of matter called ectoplasm, which is produced when a ghost possesses a vessel, and the ectoplasm is basically also how they are able to interact with our world. Oh, and most of the creatures we talk about aren't. But yeah, I can see that if they require energy to form, they probably would need like a place to settle to not just keep wasting that energy. So it would make sense if they possess either a location or an object, like a haunted house, for example. If we can, if we are willing to look at the ectoplasm as a kind of a crystallized form of the energy they are basically storing, as either like a fat reserve comparison, we could see how in the presence of said ectoplasm they would be able to interact more with the physical world. That is true. Okay. Well, definitely when we're talking about monster girls, we could talking about animal spirits, but then I have to whip out the furry skill, and we would be going to a number we normally don't go to. So I don't think that is required for this episode. But yeah, a lot of ghosts in a lot of fictions do get altered by either their circumstances of death, their what they kind of were in life, or the location they are currently inhabiting. A couple of hmm? Yes, and I'm good. A couple of good examples I can think of ghost quote-unquote modifications like that are either some of the ghosts in Danny Phantom, whose special powers are all kind of just based on how they were in life. And also the librarian ghost from Ghostbusters. Okay, in that case, I can definitely give you a couple of subjects for you to think about. Uh, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Okay, so there is actually something I am curious about. What is your opinion on ghosts learning new stuff? Yeah, because I've seen a lot of versions where ghosts are like, have you seen this? Yes, I have seen that happen like 7 minutes ago. Or, did it happen like 500 years ago when I was alive? No. Then I have no idea what you're talking about. I've seen both arguments done there. I kinda hope it would be like, uh, that is also true. Or imagining someone not realizing they were alive during that. Like, play. Like, oh shit, I was alive when the PlayStation 1 got released. You know what? I think Ghost would be. I was wondering why I suddenly was talking out of my own neck. Yeah, like. Nearly headless Nick. Yeah, so. If they have like unfinished business, then I would assume they would be able to attain new information. Yeah. Okay, so you are also agreeing with me that it would make a lot more sense if they are able to still learn stuff. Yeah, because honestly, a lot of when the ghosts tend to form in any film, they are like, "Ooh, this horseless carriage has taken her away." You mean a car? Like I understand. Yeah. Like it would make sense if they have like no interaction with the living. Like they probably couldn't go up to a person and go like, "Hi, are we allowed to vote now?" But but I do think that ghosts would have like uh, the default millennial mindset. Just going, "Fuck, I'm old." Yeah, they wouldn't be like Gen X, which is even but is after millennial. Well, is it after or before? Yeah, but what I was trying to get at, Gen X doesn't really care, but the millennials thing would definitely be like, we're kind of in the back in my day generation again. So, but how much do you think they, statistically speaking, would remember from their life? Because if it, I do think that since they are in a form of non-progression as ghosts, they probably would remember parts of their lives very vividly, but new information will be harder for them to attain. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can. That is fair. Yeah. Uh, if we're making the, since we are kind of staring towards them being energy beings, it would kind of make sense if the energy that they are made of includes like the brain signals, which, yeah. So it would explain why they are still able to learn new things, but since they are also needing it to form, it's taking more to retain it. Yeah. The only kind of ghost banging I've seen was in Being Human, where they literally just fuse and glow. You know, that is actually a good point to start bringing up. Possession. Yeah, either thermal, nuclear, electric. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They can probably also convert it. Yes. Yeah. Mhm. Uh-huh. Yeah, that does. It would make sense, but it probably would also take a lot out of them. Man, matchmaking might be difficult if 17. True. And that would, if they kind of sap off the energy of the one they possessing, it would make sense how they are the ones in control when the main body should be resisting because it is being siphoned. Okay. 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 Uh, okay. But do you think that a ghost possession would work the same as a demonic possession? Okay, so what would. Yeah, and probably if you have like a good. Uh, a good nerve system, you probably would be able to resist. Okay, sorry. A a active, a overly active nerve system. Yeah, sorry. I mean, yeah, I can definitely see I needed to rephrase that. Okay. Hmm. How do you think? Uh, I'm gonna say it depends why they aren't able to move their specific muscles. Yeah. If they are able to, let's say, make them do like supernatural shit, like make them float, yes, I think they could potentially puppeteer them. But if, depending on how powerful, let's just say very powerful ghosts might be, which is fair. I do think that to like minor paralysis, like let's say, just out of rehab or after an accident, yes, like if all the muscles are fully, well, are not just completely deteriorated, yeah. I do think that if it is in like a area with ectoplasm, they might be able to do more. But overall, I'm gonna say, like, let's just say a random ghost, not the place they are hunting, just possesses a person in a hospital. I'm gonna say no. Yeah. Because if if they are producing ectoplasm, I do think that is when they are quote unquote nestled or settled down. So them having like home advantages or layer actions, if we're gonna use full D&D terms, would kind of make sense. But now is oh, I will apply for a ghost. All right, we have Sky already answering this question, and we aren't even 30 minutes in. But yeah, fair enough. So what do you think would be more likely for a ghost to manifest in a place where that just matters to them personally, or where other ghosts start manifesting? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I kind of think uh, if a I kind of think it would make more sense with like I'm gonna use a haunted house as an example. Basically, just a downward spiral. Like a few ghosts are able to manifest there, meaning there is a lot of energy, allowing more ghosts to manifest there, which would also build up with the ectoplasm and thus allowing more ghosts to manifest there. I mean, it takes still a long time, but I do think that they would kind of start clustering together. Yeah, like yeah, if the density of spectral activity isn't that high, then yeah, then meaning. But with high activity, I do think that's also kind of part of humans being social creatures. That also kind of factors in it. Like, ooh, I sense something familiar. That is fair. Or where like your family is living. That is fair. Okay, something kind of popped in my head that is semi-related, but kind of off the path. Do you think Daddy Phantom has ground enough to sue his parents? Not fair enough. I don't think that actually needs more elaboration. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to think. Okay, let's see. We talked about how they form, quote unquote, naturally, what it would require for them to form, and also factors that might help with that. Uh, we did talk about one of the common tropes of it becoming cold around it. You know, there's actually a few things about like ghost powers that we probably should discuss in this section. Let's start with let's start with phasing through walls and how some ghosts are just walking on the floor. I do already have a potential what's the word? Uh, hypothesis as to why they are able to do so. But I'm curious what your insight on it is first. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. There is indeed a lot of emptiness between all atoms. Okay. Well, I do agree with that bit. And it would also explain if they leave behind a little bit of ectoplasm. I I think the reason why most ghosts are seen like being able to just walk around is because it is mind over matter. They are used to not being able to do so. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so and honestly, mind over matter lets even humans at this stage just do stuff that normally would be like, how the fuck did you do that? How the fuck did I do what? Okay, we talked about possession, we talked about phasing, things talking about cold. What are other ghosts? What other what are other staples for being a ghost that you can think of? Like turning invisible, that one is easy. Just changing your frequency. Okay. Pol yeah, poltergeists. Just making random stuff float and such. Yeah. And I assume a poltergeist would be a more... How are we going to refer to a ghost that has more power? Because just saying more powerful ghost is just going to become redundant after a bit. Would charged be better or... more... Yes, and? Isn't everything a battery? Exactly. But I'm just thinking out loud, like most of the times. But I do think the more dense or more energy a ghost has, the more stuff they can do, and having an effect around like that would definitely need a minimum level. Basically, how in Digimon and Dragon Ball systems we use tension. I don't care. Yes. Yeah. They're either sapping energy, they're causing a disturbance in said energy. Hey, Blackhead, would you like to give a random insult to one of my viewers? Yeah. KitKat does give that common loot vibe. False advertising. Okay, since we are talking about ghosts, just to make sure I'm not becoming one, I kind of smell a burning scent. I'm checking something real quick. Oh no, it was just a bug zapper. Yeah! It's a classic. If you can't find stick, find rock. Yeah! But sticks are cooler. That's why I said, if you can't find stick, go for rock. Alright. We did already talk about possession. Okay, so since we did mention well, I mentioned ghosts forming quote unquote naturally, and I did ask at the beginning what your stance was of well, necromancy. Now's the question, what if a ghost gets conjured? Like, called beyond the grave, medium style? Yeah, sorry, uh-huh. Okay, so if we were to compare it, was like just giving them access to your network for like a Skype call or Zoom call. Yeah. But what do you think, both from this side as their side, what do you think would be required to be conjured like that? Uh-huh. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is true. Do you think it would be easier to summon a young ghost or an old ghost? Ah, but what if you're calling them from like the afterlife if they've already passed on? That is also fair. And I do actually kind of agree with you there. Okay, since I did bring up mediums, why the fuck is the universal thing of contacting ghosts a wooden board? Yeah, a fucking Luigi board. Wah. Imagine two movies that are literally just called Luigi board and Waluigi board. Was it back then already? Sorry, one second. Was it at that time already connected to contacting the dead, or like... What was its original design? Yeah, but what was the game? One second, I'm gonna check out when the Ouija board was actually created. Google Sensei! First Ouija board. Let's see, a spare board, talking board, witch board. An original... Ah. Relatively speaking, yeah. Huh. Okay, let's see. We did already talk about that. We did already talk about that. So, how easy do you think it would be for a ghost to go from the afterlife to this plane of existence? Do you think there's like a boat? There would be like guardians or bureaucracy making that either harder or possible? That is true. Yeah. That is true. That might also be why we don't see a lot of modern ghosts so far, because we served our time, why would we be coming back here? But you're in hell. Did I fucking stutter? Yeah, instead of financial pain. Don't you mean emotional pain? Did I fucking stutter? Would you actually want to be... would you like to be a ghost? I definitely... If I was a ghost, I definitely would be a prankster poltergeist. Yeah, but if I'm a poltergeist, I can at least do a lot more silly shit. Okay, so ghost-wise, I do think that this is the... Wait, are we counting astral projections as ghosts? As that is literally your soul and such just leaving your body? Blackout? Okay, what would you count it as? Okay, but you would say that an astral projection does not count as a ghost, since your physical body is technically still alive? Okay. I can accept that explanation. Yeah, it's like how we emulate animals with different tools. You basically just imitate a state of being. Alright. That is true. You would probably just be providing your own. Ah. Okay, that is the most annoying one, where you think like, oh, Eureka! What the fuck was I about to say again? Okay, so I kind of get what you're saying. Like, what I then imagine with an astral projection would be, let's say we have devices that would be able to fully detect ghosts. I do think that a astral projection would give off similar reactions. Like, let's compare it to radio waves. Like either or So, I think it would be like that. Comparable, but not quite. So, since we did kind of were able to bullshit an entire hour full of this, to kind of summarize, I think we can classify ghosts as fermenting energy. Ah, sure. In that case, I personally do like the concept of a ghost in this manner, because it is kind of dope to just be in a matter of state that isn't just solid. Like, if I was able to just go with my hand through something and face, I would get up to so much shit. Actually, that's the question. If a ghost... If you live in a world where you know ghosts are real, would you be more productive in life or less productive in life? Because the saying, I'll sleep when I'm dead, when you're a ghost, your insomnia probably would still carry over. Huh. Wait, what if there's a way to actually make so that you would become a ghost? You probably need to start stockpiling energy beforehand, but then there would be an entire market that would be like just negating the till death do us part bit. Ooh. I can technically work. Never! I was just thinking that if you live in a world where you know ghosts are real, there probably would be corporates who would invent a way to guarantee you would become a ghost relatively fast. But then there would be a whole lot of messy bureaucracy around the phrase, till death do us part. I mean, that way you could actually carry out a life sentence. That's because I've heard of criminals getting multiple life sentences. Basically, they would then just make it so they would become a ghost and then serve that sentence a couple more times, and then they are just free to roam around. Oh, so if they die before and they would become... Would they be made a ghost just to serve out the rest of that time? Yeah. Because in a lot of fictions we... Oh, you could probably call someone for that. I had to make the joke at least once. But another thing that I kind of popped in my mind is the saying, "I'll sleep when I'm dead." What if you just die and your insomnia gets carried over? You'd be like, fuck! I know what I said. That is... I do think they would need to require a dormant state so they don't just waste all the energy they collected. Okay, so I was kind of thinking, like, if they do rest, and I'm saying if, it would be kind of comparable to a dolphin's rest, like partially active, other parts dormant. Yeah. Or just something happens in the background. See, even Eliza agrees. Just like, do love that dynamic when they just start treating the supernatural being as just a roommate. Knocks it out time. No, we're not getting another cat! Instead of a sock on the door, if you have a ghost roommate, you would put some salt in front of the door. Yes, I don't have to go through the door, I can go through the window. It's a matter of courtesy! But, yeah, that actually brings something up that could potentially fit in the biology thing. How would you explain that the function of salt keeping spirits away? Yeah, I think if it's... I'm not quite sure where it's come... Yeah. Yeah, wait, if we were afraid of ghosts, wouldn't we season our food more? Wait, is that why there's so many white ghosts? Because we don't season our food. Oh god. That would make so much more sense. No wonder there's so many Victorian era ghosts. Oh, Part 2 of Cat Girls Are British. Ghost girls are just white. Okay, so I am looking at it. I did check. It might be something like that's just kind of a. If we are looking at it realistically, it could be a potential mistranslation because salt is actually a good conductor when it's either molten or mixed in a solution. That would make sense. Yeah. That would... I mean, there's a lot of ghost ships and such. Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense in a way. And it also kind of makes... But to be fair, they are on a ship, so they are basically just cured in a barrel. Let's see. So that does make sense, the salt weakness and holy water just being salt, because there's a lot of mention of salt in the Bible, so that also makes sense. That holy water is just salt. Yeah, salt, and salt is also just a luxury good. I mean, if it's an old ghost, they might think like, "Ooh, salt, I am rich," and then just passes on. You know, one thing I really loved about Ghosts and Water is actually from a very recent piece of media, Delicious in Dungeon, where they basically how they dealt with ghosts is they made some makeshift holy water, but instead of just spraying it, because ghosts pass through salt matters, they just put it in a jar, tied the jar very tightly, and flung it around like a flail, so when it hit a ghost, the glass wouldn't hit it, but the holy water inside would still hit the ghosts. I really thought that was cool. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, does it also mean? Does that also explain why sage is a cleansing herb? Ghosts really don't like flavor. Okay, so since we now actually do have one of the okay, another thing that kind of popped in, it would also make sense with something we talked about before, why ghosts appear more at night than during the day. Oh yeah, go right ahead, while we're still on that. Season your food, we're not that white. Tourism, you give them your money, they take your taste buds. No worries. But I was gonna say why it would make sense for ghosts to appear during the night, since if they if they are emitting a special frequency of light, it just would be more visible in the dark compared to the power of the full fucking sun. I think it is. I mean, it would be a form of energy, but I don't think they would be able to project as well. Like, I think they would just technically still be around in the same frequency, it's just not the same visibility. Yeah, I'm just happy we were able to pump an hour full of it. Yes. Okay. Okay. I am gonna say if a dramatic trauma event, like it can be like an accident, it can be a hard time, would accelerate the thought. Leaving that aside, I am gonna say it would probably, and I'm also just thinking like with okay with so pure ambient energy. I do think that because there's now a lot of energy pollution, both and a lot of radio waves in the atmosphere, I do think that the further we go along, the faster it would become. But for now, I'm gonna completely spitball it. Say 70 year to start with like the ghost tail form. Like barely any color, mostly like white and see-through and such. So 70, 80 years to begin. They would probably. Yeah. If they. Okay. I'm gonna say if it was in an accelerant situation like I died in the war, then I'm gonna say like an event that had like a massive impact on them. Yes. But if it's like naturally formed, I think it would be like a general outfit that they are comfortable with. There is probably like a 60% chance that if I become a ghost, I would be wearing a hoodie and just like jogging pants. Like, if you work a lot, you probably would be wearing like a suit of or uniform. If you were just like casually minding your business, you would probably just be wearing like normal or regular fashion of the time. I am gonna say that if they are past the ghost tail stage, like fully have their legs, then yeah, like as they go, the more older ghost, definitely. Because I'm just imagining like just a progressional state, like larval and such, like it just keeps growing more complex and complex. But I do think they definitely would prefer just their comfort outfit. Of course, it does depend on from what time period they are. If it is like a ghost from this day and age, then they would have a different outfit every hour. If it is from someone like the 1600s, then they're like, this outfit does not get dirty, why should I change? So, yeah, like, two ghosts meet each other, okay, one of us has to change. Yeah, I've seniority. Fuck, you win this round. Yeah, so the round goes to me again. But yeah, it's definitely more of a would versus could, because the older they are, they definitely could, but then it's less of, then they would less likely be to do that. But now's the question, if, let's say a ghost from, let's say, I'm trying to think of a recent time period, the 70s, okay, the 80s, do you think they would be willing to try out an outfit of granddaughter or daughter? The 80s isn't even that long ago, but it is already around 40 years ago. Ah, yes, granddaughter, your children are being a little bit rambunctious. Would you like some methamphetamine to calm them down? I've got some zinc. I've got some opium. Like, when did they stop doing that? Because I feel that it is pretty recent. But I am not in the mood to really look that up, if I'm being honest. I did make a point about it earlier, and because habits are very hard to break, I'm gonna say yes. Like, yeah. Yeah, like, culture-wise, it just depends. It's more of a when did they die kind of scenario, and it's not really. I can't really ask the question if left alone. Because if left alone, it's basically just where they end it. So they literally don't have a end to their where will they end up if left alone. Okay. Yeah, the bounce ghosts, earthbound spirits. We did kind of say that it would make sense if it is like an area they are familiar with, like haunted houses or the place where they died. Yeah. Like, they could definitely be either tethered by either a binding spell or just own personal feelings, making them unable to leave. But it could also be because that is where their quote unquote main source from energy is. Yeah. Yeah, just be like, imagine if you're being tied to a family and they just start calling you abuela. I hate each and every one of you. That is not how you make that recipe. Like, family ghosts would get. You're like, oh, my descent. I'm ashamed of my descendants. But if it's based on location, there would. If you're an introvert, yeah, it's a dream existence. Just exist. Yeah, some people are some people are like, yeah, I can enjoy it, and others are like, this is a dumpster fire. I shouldn't, but I can't look away. Yeah. Yeah, those are just being clockwork oranged. Let's see. Okay, so we did actually, when we were talking about like physical undead, we did talk about like a potential structure. Would we just put the incorporeal undead in the same kind of niche as physical undead? Oh. Sorry, what? Ah. Yeah, like... Yeah, I did make the sense that I did make a point earlier that they would kind of cluster towards each other, like... Just, if you produce... Yeah! Like ghost towns, ghost ships... And then there's definitely gonna be people who are gonna ask, is it a town full of ghosts or is it the ghost of a town? And then the answer is just yes. Hey, do you think that a ghost would settle in a ghost town, or do you think it has to become a ghost? It becomes a ghost town when the ghost starts to settle, like kind of a chicken and egg scenario. How would you call a group of ghosts? The best thing I could think of is just a community. Or we could actually just start calling a group of ghosts a town of ghosts. A yard of ghosts. Yeah, that's actually a very fun way to refer to as groupings. Even if you have like a community the size of Cincinnati, it would still be just a town. And it would be a town at a minimum of 10 ghosts, correct? I mean, it would make sense because just a handful of ghosts could be like either like just a couple of families that happen to die at the same time. It could be just a couple of people who died in the same battle. Yeah, when when it gets into double digits, then it starts to be called a town. That is a pretty good baseline. Oh god, is this the first time we actually talk about group dynamics? Like, there's... No wait, we did talk about how different groups would behave, but not really what to call them most of the time. Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, we do. Never mind. That is indeed that does sound like something I would do, and I have done apparently. Yeah. Yeah, that does sound like me. Okay, so let's see. We talked about. Ooh, I'm trying to think of something. Yeah. Yeah, like I love the concept of them, but there's with what we're talking about, there's not a lot of them to discuss. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think there's gonna be... There are two aspects I would like to bring up. Did you know them before they were a ghost, or is it post-mortem? Because I've... Okay, if it is random the ghost, then I would say you'd first have to... It would definitely start off more as a companionship type of relationship, because depending on their ripeness, they wouldn't really be able to interact with you on a physical level. Like, they could potentially possess you and basically masturbate in your body, but... Yes, and... But that was the question, who would be touch-starved? The living or the dead? Fair. But as it would start off as a... Because with this one I can actually start to think of how like a relationship would progress. From casual like, what's up, it's me, ya boy. Like, just hang around start first, then if they possess a vessel that you have regular access to, if it's an object, like, then they could potentially start hunting where you live, so just moving in together. And I do think that science can advance far enough for them to make it just functioning fake bodies. I was thinking a little bit more advanced, but basically, yes. Of course, they are supposed not to be made of silicone, because then energy wouldn't really be conducted. Yes. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. There's also synesthesia, where you can, for example, see sounds or taste colors, yada yada yada. Yeah. Like, that is definitely very easily obtainable by just having an altered sensory system. So I'm actually gonna say that people on the spectrum would be more likely to see him. I may have pissed people off with that statement, but I'm sticking with it. Yeah. almost everything is offensive in this economy. But there's actually something else that kind of popped up when I said fake bodies. What about... Okay, so let's say we have either a recent ghost or just an older ghost, but you know where their body is. If you were to perform necromancy, would they possess that body, or would you basically just have two of the same? I think you need to narrow it down a little bit. So, wait, do they also have like a werewolf with them? It's a think tank. Yeah. I mean, is there really a difference? One second, let me just zoom in real quick. That is actually a good point if you were to... come from the same person. I actually did have an... when I was just fucking around thinking of what would make a fun isekai. Yeah, but would you... Okay, so... Actual question with zombies and ghosts. Do you think a ghost would be able to possess a zombie? That is fair. But if you were to revive their body, I still don't know if you would have the ghost go in the body, or if you would just have two of the same, basically just the exterior and the interior just separate. I'll be honest, like, I enjoy ghosts, but with this particular subject, it's kind of hard to start thinking about with the format we kind of set up. But I do feel like we're kind of limiting ourselves, so I'm trying to think out of the box. Exactly! We can definitely say where they would be most prominent. The North. Because they... Yeah, wherever they don't really season their food, like North America, Britain, Northern Europe, Russia. Yeah, they're... Like, normally, we can say a little bit like, oh, this is how they differ from humans. Like, with giants, biologically, we already were struggling. But here we are culturally... Yeah, here we are culturally struggling, because they are just humans. on New Game Plus or Spectator mode. I am mad at myself for not coming with that one of myself. But what do you think? Because there's actually also... I'm also just thinking about, like, for example, the Hogwarts ghosts. Like, is it ever stated why there are so many ghosts at Hogwarts? In that case, our cluster theory might be having more ground. Oh wait, there's actually one example of a ghost we could kind of elaborate on, especially with our modern world. So with the ring and the original Sadako, how likely do you think it is for a ghost to just manifest in a way with rules like that? Like, if you watch me 7 days later, I will come for you. That is true, but we'll get back to you in 1 work week. She also probably has to track your GPS down. And then it probably also just takes... Since she is a VSH ghost, it probably just takes a while for her to get your number. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna simmer a little bit, but I will ask the usual question. So, Blackguard, what is your general rating of ghost waifus and as a waifu rating for ghosts? Yeah. 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 Uh-huh. Yeah. In my case, general-wise, as long as it's not a grudge-bound ghost, like completely hung up about unfinished business, I'm gonna say general is gonna be a high 8. Oh, imagine if your own bad memories become ghosts. Remember when you wore 2 different socks? Yeah, but in general, I do think ghosts, both as both have just very good potential to be and to get to know about, because they would be great if you are curious about either local history or just history in general. Waifu rating, I'm gonna say it depends on the era, and so since it is a wide variety, I was gonna try and give it another question mark for waifu rating, but that feels like a cop-out. Depending on era, I'm gonna say gonna say 6. Yeah, like... It's only a little silly something that kind of popped in my head. An alternate name for a town of ghosts. A polticule. I didn't say it was a good one, I just said it was an alternate one. No. I'm gonna say that, much like our subject, I think our discussion is dead. Yeah, like, if we had a different format, we could keep going on about ghosts and such and examples, but with this particular show, with what we're looking for, yeah. You know, what's your favorite example of a ghost waifu? I'm gonna make it harder for me and not pick Polygeist, since I've used her as an example. Oh yeah, definitely, but that is a low bar. Linguistically, yes. Okay, I know Perona doesn't really count. Plus her laugh would probably start to annoy me after a bit. But she is technically human, but she ate... I know exactly the one that I want, and she just kind of popped up in the stream. Daisy Ray from Danny Phantom. Yeah. Like, I am a sucker for the genie aesthetic, for one. Considering I put a Bleach character in here, yes, I do count that. But, yeah, so, considering like I said, I put in a Bleach character, so yes, I will count Soul Reapers, Grim Reapers, Shinigami. Oh god, yeah, the Shinigami from Death Note also technically count with our criteria. But yeah, I kind of want to call it. Oh, I thought Stitch was gonna be streaming for another bit, and I was gonna raid into him again. Oh no, he did stream for a while. I heard him say he was gonna stream for like 6 hours a day. So with my wait, actually. No, never mind. Those 6 hours are already over, yeah. In that case... I think we're gonna raid into my usual Monday raid target, the Digital Hazard. So, to everyone who... According to Blackout, I have been cutting out whenever I do my outro. So, before I actually press the button... To everyone who's still in chat, thanks for dropping in, thanks for popping by. It has been fun and brain killing. But it's been something. I've been joined once again with Blackouts. Anything you want to say? Fair enough. Oh, by the way, next time we'll be talking about a different type of spirits, but more the nature-oriented. Sky referred to them as mana beings, but I like to refer to them as elementals. Yes. Yeah, nature spirits. Okay, so while the raid is loading, what do you think is... What elemental do you think you could talk about the most? Yeah, same here. I do think lava will have more words about that. Yes, and we'll see how it goes, but Earth is technically my least favorite element of the classical four. Anyways, time to raid.